Hello, I'm Jessica Ryan Keeney. I am the Department of Child Support Services attorney for two small Northern California counties. I've been practicing family law as an attorney since December of 2009. What we're about to tell you today is not legal advice. This is for educational purposes only. Go ahead, like the video, ding the bell, make sure that you're signed up to get notifications when we upload new content so that you know as soon as we upload our new content. If you have any questions, go ahead, leave them in the comments. If we do answer them, the answers still won't be legal advice, but those questions often make for good video topics. Today we're going to discuss redacting private information from your documents when you turn them into the Department of Child Support Services. So it's the policy of the Department of Child Support Services to take the documents that you turn into them and, when appropriate, file them with the court in an unaltered state and serve them on the other party in an unaltered state. This means that your address, your phone number, your email address, possibly social security numbers could end up being sent to the other party and filed with the court, and the court file is considered a public record. So if you don't want your private information in the public record, you need to be sure to redact this information when you're turning your documents in to the Department of Child Support Services, and when you are filing your documents in a Department of Child Support Services child support case. So what's the law that supports this? Well, it is California Rule of Court, Rule 1.201, Protection of Privacy, subsection A, exclusion or redaction of identifiers. And it reads, to protect personal privacy and other legitimate interests, parties and their attorneys must not include or must redact where inclusion is necessary the following identifiers from all pleadings and other papers filed in the court's public file, whether filed in paper or electronic form, unless otherwise provided by law or ordered by the court. Social security numbers. If an individual's social security number is required in a pleading or other paper filed in a public record, only the last four digits of that number may be used. Financial account numbers. If financial account numbers are required in a pleading or other paper filed in the public file, only the last four digits of these numbers may be used. Responsibility of the filer. The responsibility of excluding or redacting identifiers identified in subsection A from all documents filed with the court rests solely on the parties and their attorneys. The court clerk will not review each pleading or other paper for compliance with this provision. That was subsection B. Subsection C, confidential reference list. If the court orders on a showing of good cause, a party filing a document containing identifiers listed in subsection A may file, along with the redacted document that will be placed in the public file, a reference list. The reference list is confidential. A party filing a confidential reference list must use confidential reference list of identifiers, form MC120, for that purpose. The confidential list must identify each item or redacted information and specify an appropriate reference that uniquely corresponds to each item of redacted information listed. All references in the case to the redacted identifiers included in the confidential reference list will be understood to refer to the corresponding complete identifier. A party may amend its reference list as of right. Scope, this is subsection D. The requirements of this rule do not apply to documents or records that by court order or operation of law are filed in their entirety, either confidentially or under seal. So subsection A and subsection B are what we usually deal with in the Department of Child Support Services, and you'll notice that this rule of court does not mention redacting addresses. That's because typically parties in a case have a right to know the address of the other party. We're not going to get into that in this video, and we're not going to discuss that for DCSS purposes. What you need to know is that if you don't want your address to be shared with the other party, When you turn documents into DCSS, like your income and expense declaration, your responsive declaration, your pay stubs, you need to make sure that things like your address and your social security number and your bank account number are all redacted. That way the other party doesn't get that information and that information doesn't find its way into the court file, because DCSS will not redact that information on your behalf. Now, with most things that go out, DCSS has a letter that basically tells you to redact your stuff and that DCSS won't be redacting it for you. I will put a link to the DCSS policy letter and the sample letter that goes out to participants in the description below. And when this eventually goes on my website, that document will also be on my website. Now, the letter that gets sent out to each participant basically says, "Dear participant name, we may file paperwork for you. It's the policy of Department of Child Support Services, Child Support, to forward appropriate legal forms and supporting documents received from participants, such as yourself, to the Superior Court for filing. It is your responsibility to file documents related to your case with the court unless you are asked to return them directly to Child Support. Documents intended for the court but received by Child Support will be routed to the court for filing as a convenience to you. We cannot change information on paperwork we file. Documents filed with the court may become a matter of public record. Child Support may not remove or change information that identifies you personally, is confidential, or any other information on forms that are submitted for filing with the court. So please be aware that private information like your address, social security number, driver's license number, and bank account numbers on documents filed with the court by Child Support could become public records that anyone could see. We are not your attorney. Since current law and public policy does not allow any child support agency to provide legal representation to you, you or your attorney are responsible for properly completing all forms prior to filing them with the court or submitting them to Child Support. Incomplete or improper forms may not be accepted by the court, whether from you or from Child Support, and routing of completed documents from Child Support to the court as a courtesy to you does not create an attorney-client relationship between you and Child Support. Legal help is available. If you have any questions or concerns about private information on legal forms and documents, we strongly encourage you to seek legal assistance or talk to your county's Family Law Facilitator office for possible options. If you have further questions, please visit Customer Connect, and then it provides a web address for assistance, or call Customer Connect direct line, and it provides a phone number. If you have hearing or speech impediment, please call the TTY number and then it provides that phone number. Sincerely, and then it'll be the worker name and their title at the bottom of the letter. So that's the letter that goes out with, I'm told, most documents that get sent out to case participants. And a sample of our policy letter or a copy of our policy letter will be linked in the description, as well as a link to that sample letter that goes out to participants. So please, please, please know that documents that you send to DCSS may be routed to the court. We may have to serve them on the other party. So it's your responsibility to redact information. Thank you for listening to our watching our video. Go ahead, click the like button, ding the bell, make sure that notifications are turned on. Remember that this is not legal advice. Always, always, always speak to an attorney who can answer questions for your specific legal case.